Welcome to the Woodrow Wilson House. My name is Elizabeth Karcher. I'm the Executive Director. It's my pleasure to have you come back, welcome back, and join us this evening for our fundraiser. This is the first fundraiser that I'm having the opportunity of running here at the Wilson House. I've been here for 2.5 years. It has been amazing and wonderful, and it has just been the job of my life. I have to say, I could not do this without a great advisor. I have a lot of team members who are here, and I want to thank them, and if they could just raise their hand so that they know and you know that they are acknowledged, because it's really important to me. My team is here. We've got the regular staff. We've got our, they can raise their hand. Everyone knows John, and our newest member is Abby, and you will see her at the door and at the gate. You've seen some of our guides. They're here helping inside. We have a few of our scholars who are here as well. Every semester we've had scholars come through. They are volunteers. They're part of a program that we've created in the last 2 years. It's been rather remarkable that we've put 25 students through a scholars program at the Woodrow Wilson House in the last 2 years. And I'm very, very proud of that. Wow. We also have our advisory, and if they could wave their hand. In the time I've been here, yes, thank you. And Carrie Fuller is here, and a number of you were invited by advisory council members. And so I thank you for coming and supporting them as your friends and supporting the Wilson House. I'd also like to introduce we'll be having a new president of our advisory council, and that is Cosby Hunt. And I hope Cosby is here and can wave his hand and say hello. Yay, Cosby, thank you. In the time I've been here, we have 6 new advisory council members, which is really great. That tells me that people want to join, they want to be a part of the Wilson House, and they're excited about the things that we're doing. So I welcome our new advisory council members. I also want to say thank you to the advisory council members who have been part of the Woodrow Wilson House for sometimes, some of them, over 40 years. How many of you can say you've been part of anything for more than 40 years and still do it and still call the executive director and still come and support the Wilson House? That's the kind of people we have on our advisory. And so I thank them, because without them, we couldn't be doing an event like tonight. So thank you. I've been carrying this little tag around all night, and people have said to me, what's that for? And I use this to explain a little story about my background, because people say, why are you in preservation? And I'm going to tell you, when I was growing up, you knew someone had died in the family because you would get a piece of furniture on your front porch or on your back porch or on the front step, and it would have a tag like this on it. It would have my mother or my father's name on it. And that meant that Aunt Edith or Aunt Ellen or Aunt Gertrude or Grandma Sally had died, and they left a piece of furniture to either my mother or my father. My house was filled with these things, and sometimes they didn't take the tags off, and it got to then finally a point where my mother was starting to tag furniture to give to the next generation. And a lot of them had my name on it. And I knew that was coming to my front step. I share this because without people who are concerned about providing and preserving our past and passing something as simple as a piece of furniture to the next person, to be able to tell the story about how they got that and who sat in that chair and why that's important to them, whether that was important to my mother or to my grandmother or to my father, those are things that they passed on to me. And that's exactly what Edith Wilson did at this house. She bequeathed the house to the National Trust for Historic Preservation 60 years ago. She had moved into this house 100 years ago, and she kept this house preserved, and she could have tagged a lot of these things. There are 8,400 items in that house, and thank goodness she didn't do it, but we're doing it today. And we use those artifacts to tell stories, different stories, diverse stories, whether it's about Woodrow Wilson or about Edith. It's about the people who lived and worked here, who sat in that chair, who used that china. I just heard a great story today that Jackie Kennedy came. Edith she was a steward of the president and also a steward of the presidency. She hosted every first lady here for lunch when they became first lady. The last first lady was Jackie Kennedy. And apparently, the Kennedy kids were climbing in this garden looking for the turtle that was historically in the garden. So I only just learned that story tonight. No one tagged the turtle. If they do, tell me, because I'd like to see it. I share this with you because it's important. The Wilson House has been a part of the community, a cornerstone of this community for over 100 years. And I ask you all to support us that we can stay here for another 100 years. I think it's important that I mention the National Trust for Historic Preservation, who actually oversees this. Tonight we have very honored guests of Catherine Malone France, Thomas Mays, and Paul Edmondson. Can you wave for us, please? There they are. Without their guidance and leadership and support, we couldn't do what we do. So I thank you, and I thank you for coming this evening to see and celebrate with us. I'm going to ask you to do a few things tonight. The first is we have a silent auction. The items are amazing. My advisory council has donated fabulous, fabulous things that are auctioning off. So please, think about what you'd like to, these are great Christmas gifts, they're great parties, they're great things. The second thing I'd like you to do is I'd like you to visit historic houses. Come visit us, see our exhibitions, learn the stories, hear about the Scotts who lived in this house and worked for Edith and Woodrow. Come and hear about our architecture and our ceramics and all the things that make this house alive. The last thing I'd like you to do is I'd like you to consider going home and tagging something in your collection that you'd like to give away to someone special in your family. And think about it, and think about how important that story is that you're going to share with the next generation. There must be something that you feel that's so important that you need to make sure the next generation knows about it. That's how Edith Wilson felt. That's how I feel. That's how the National Trust for Historic Preservation feels. And I hope you share with us in that joy and celebration of sharing stories. So with that, the silent auction will close in 30 minutes. Please make your bids, and then we'll announce the winners. You will be able to check out on the terrace as you leave. So if you're the winner, you'll find out when you get to the terrace. So please make your bids and enjoy the evening. And thank you.
Thank you.